Larry Feldman is probably the most amazing trainer that I've ever experienced in this business. I've been in the car business now for 35 years, and I've seen quite a few trainers. And a lot of them are pretty good. I mean, really, I get something out of all of them that I've seen, really. But Larry is in another class. I really mean that. His training is literally riveting. A little while back, I sat in on his first training that I ever sat in on. It was for new hires. I still remember, I'll never forget it. About 25 people in the room who'd never sold cars before. And he started to do his training. And after 2 hours, I was in the back of the room and I raised my hand meekly and Larry stopped what he was doing and said, yes. And I said, maybe we should take a break. And literally, I'll never forget it. All 25 people turned around, looked at me and went, well, okay. And they turned back to Larry. And Larry looked at me and goes, okay. And he kept going for another 2 hours.
Hello there. This is Ian Nethercott from the famous Auto Hub Show. Sorry about my voice. I've been talking too much, which is shocking for a podcaster. I'm going to be at NADA at the Velo booth, and of course, you're going to be there live. Definitely stop by. I'm going to have shirts and hats at the show, the new version. This is last year's. And I have the pleasure of interviewing Mr. AJ Taquito. Is that how you pronounce it?
No, it's Tacito, Ian Tacito.
Okay. So, AJ, maybe you can tell us a little bit about you, what you do, and how you got there, from where.
Okay, thank you very much. Honored to have the opportunity to visit with you today, Ian.
Yeah.
You have a great show, great followers, a lot of good information. I've been following your podcast for a while, and it's just really incredible what you're doing. So thanks for the opportunity to be
Thank you.
with you today. Really appreciate it. Tacito Direct is the company that I founded 44 years ago. We do direct mail marketing, primarily direct mail marketing. I was talking to somebody the other day, and now they call it DMS marketing. I've never heard it called DMS marketing, but I guess that's the new term. But 44 years ago, we started doing direct mail advertising for car dealerships, which was a very unique concept in those days. Actually, we cut a lot of new ground when we introduced direct mail to dealerships 44 years ago. And the way we did it was a private by invitation only sales event, a 4-hour sale at the dealership. And in those days, we were able to identify registered owners of the model that the vehicle that the dealer was selling, and we target those registered owners. There was no such thing as a DMS 44 years ago. So what we would do is get Polk information. I don't know if you're familiar with Polk, but
Yep.
Polk kept track of registrations in a market area. The state would supply registration data, and we would target those people and invite them into the dealership for a 4-hour sale. It was a very controlled event. We had a complete turnkey sale where we had security guards to check the invitations and greeters, and we paper up the windows and put tables and chairs on the showroom floor to make a buying atmosphere, and packed all the cars in the back of the service department and wrote with shoe polish on the windows the was price and the is price. And it was 4 hours and 4 hours only. If you got an invitation to this sale, you were one of the lucky ones. And we'd sell on 10,000 piece mailer, we'd see 200, 300 ups at a sale like that. And we'd sell 30, 40, 50, 60. The best I ever did was 90 cars in 4 hours. And we actually rolled that campaign across the country. And we went for all manufacturers, all brands, all types of dealerships. We went through 20 groups. Dealers would talk about this event. It was incredible. And then what happened was the OEM started to see what was happening. And so the OEM said, hey, this is a great concept. Why don't we do this for big events? So we would bring all the dealers together for a big sales event at Arlington Stadium in Dallas, where it was a baseball field. We'd bring 400 trucks, 500 trucks from all the dealerships in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and mail out, instead of 10,000, we mail out 200,000 invitations over a 3-day event, and sell in those days, we'd sell 300, 400, 500 trucks in 4 days. And that rolled through the factory. So we did a sale in Denver, and we did a sale in Phoenix, and we did a sale in Los Angeles. We did a sale in Detroit. We did sales all over the country. And then it would go from one manufacturer to another. This is a very incestuous business. Everybody knows everybody. And so it just rolled through. And so for the first 25, 30 years of doing this, we were doing tent sales for Toyota, for Nissan, for Infiniti, and Mazda sales events all over the country. We were all over the place. Since then, we've done over 54,000 campaigns.
Wow.
54,000 campaigns, 54,000 jobs, if you will, for individual dealers, dealer groups. So we now call it 2.5. You got, tiers, tier 1, 2, and 3 in the auto industry. So we work with manufacturers, where the manufacturers literally paid for the campaigns. Tier 2, where it's at associations. Tier 2.5 is now dealer groups like Lithia and Asbury. We're a preferred vendor for Lithia and Asbury. And then individual dealerships and individual dealer groups that, family groups that have more than one dealership. So we're doing that sort of thing. So 54,000 later, we're still here, and it's better than ever. We think it's better than ever right now because of the digital proliferation. And, quite honestly, there isn't as much stuff in a mailbox these days. And so when it does go in the mailbox, it stands out a lot more and gets just as good a response now as ever.
So obviously 45 years, a long time. Well done, by the way. Obviously, there's been a little bit of change in the last, call it 10 years or 20 years in auto. And as to your point, digital. So there's eventually dealers are like websites, and then websites, yes, and then other stuff, obviously, on websites. So how have you seen the business evolve, say, over the last 20 years?
Well, I would say it's evolved a lot with the fact that now we are partnered with CDK on the Fortellis platform. Yep. And other DMS companies where we can download the dealer's data. Okay. And we can, rather than in the early days, we just targeted a person that had a Ford car. Now we know exactly what year, make, model he has. We know a little bit more about the customer, how many times he's been in for service, where he is in his lease or loan. And we can target more specifically messages to where that customer is in the sales process or in the sales funnel.
Right.
We can talk to them directly right now. A lot of dealers are still wanting to buy cars from their customer base. We're able to talk to them about the value of their car. We're able to bring in service offers. We're able to talk about their payment. We're able to talk a whole lot about ways that they can save money and it might be time to trade, etc. So there's a lot more information that we're integrated into the campaign that is making it a much more intelligent and a much more targeted communication that's direct to the customer. So the data, the DMS data, I know it's kind of one of the things that has happened over time is that we couldn't use the public information because it's now restricted. But I think it's much more better because, there was a podcast the other day that I was listening to with Richie Bello. I'm sure you're familiar. Yeah. So anyway, he's talking about retention, customer retention. And so where else can a dealer better sell than his own customers? And one of the things that I found that's really interesting is the dealer will say, well, those are my customers. I sell those customers anyway. And I've had a contention all along since I've been in this business that those aren't your customers. Yeah, it was a one-time sales event that you sold them a car, or one-time service event that you serviced the car. But as long as that customer is not in your showroom, he's not in your service drive, he's not on your lot, he's not your customer. I mean, he's anybody's customer. Right. And so the assumption is made by so many dealerships that, oh, that's my customer. That's my customer. I sell my customers anyway. That is not the case. You have to stay in touch with your customer. So when we talk about retention, you talked about the factories. You look at Toyota. Toyota's right up the street here in Dallas. And one of the things that they measure their dealers' performance on is sales efficiency and sales customer retention. And so those are KPIs that the factory's looking at. If you want another dealership, or if you want to look, how you perform with regard to the factory, that's it. I mean, you have to hold on to your customers, and you have to have sales efficiency in your market area. There's no better way, I don't know of, than defining a market area by zip codes. And that's how they define it. If you ask a dealer, what's your PMA, he's going to tell you these zip codes. Okay. So if you're responsible for that performance, and you're being measured on pump in and pump out of who's selling cars into your market or where you're selling cars, and you're measured as how well you're doing, how sales efficient you are, no better way than to target customers and prospects in your primary market area, the zip codes that you're responsible for. So you can also look at it as the value of a dealership. When you look at valuation, so many dealerships are in flux right now, being sold, being bought by public companies, all these different transactions a lot of dealers been in business for 44 years like I have, and saying, hey, it's time to sell out, So what's the value of your dealership based on? Number of cars you sell? Number of cars you sell is a function of the number of customers you have in your database. So your real value is those customers. And so if you're staying in touch with those customers consistently with a legitimate sales offer, a legitimate service offer, you're keeping in touch with them, you're giving them the love that they deserve, you're going to keep those customers. And so there's no better way to do it, I don't think, than a personalized message that gets in the home when the salesman can. Gets into their mailbox. You've only got one mailbox, right? You got an email address, but Google's decided now whether you get that email delivered or not. Google's decided. And so right now, the postman doesn't decide whether or not he's going to deliver that mail or not. He puts it in your mailbox. Now it's your decision if you want to act on it or not. And that's where we're really good. We put a response mechanism in the mail to give them a reason to react, give them a reason to buy, give them a reason to come to the dealership, gives them a reason to take advantage of the offer. So those are the benefits that we're providing the dealer when he's looking at retention. So
what about technology then? I know dealers are all looking at the shiny bauble. So if I'm using mail, which is great, to your point, it gets to the mailbox, guaranteed you're going to see it. Customer opens it. Is there some sort of call to action they can do that would integrate with a website versus going to the store, or they both work? How does that work?
I love that you asked that question. That's a great question. And in the advent of COVID, we saw customers didn't want to come to dealership, right? Afraid that they're going to get COVID by going to dealership. So they started interacting digitally. And so we upped our game to meet that demand. And here's what we do. We are using microsite technology, digital technology in our direct mail, where a customer can literally interact with the dealership in real time from the mail piece. And our program, which is proprietary software, we can identify that customer, everything there is to know about that customer, and in real time engage with that customer for the dealer and send that information about that customer and his interest in what he's interested in at the dealership in real time to the dealership, to their CRM, to their sales manager, to their GM, to the dealer himself, to a salesman, whoever wants the information and who was ever prepared to act on it. So we've integrated the technology. Also, there's call to action, call the number. We have sales tracking phone numbers now. We have chat bots that discuss the transaction with the customer, all from the mail piece.
So what about a dealer who says, hey, I like what you're doing, but, and I know this is going to be kind of shocking, but, can the manufacturer pick up part of the cost? Are my salespeople or managers going to be able to handle the inbound properly? What's the return on investment? What can they realistically expect when they do, say, a mailing, whether it's sales or service or lease retention? I'm assuming you do different things.
I'm glad you asked that. So Yes, the one of the things is co-op. All our stuff is co-opable. Everything we mail has to go through co-op or uh,
Excuse me.
get approved by the appliance compliance. Okay, so those are two criteria which would qualify for funds from the manufacturer if those are available.
Okay.
Second thing is you asked about I can't handle it. Well, what the beauty of direct mail is that
Yeah.
you can drip it. You can drip mail just like you can with anything. You can drip the ad. It doesn't have to be a blast. It could be a drip to where we're mailing only enough mail for him to handle the response that he's getting in a timely fashion so that his people can handle those customers as they respond.
So the best practice wouldn't be to say mail 50,000 pieces out and hope that works out.
Well, it will, but over time. Okay. And that was really a good idea. Trust me, it's really good idea to do that. I mean, the other thing is about that you asked about is return on investment.
Yep.
One of the things that we really pride ourselves in is that we offer our clients 100% ROI guarantee. No matter what you spend with us, we guarantee that you will see 100% return on investment.
So what does that look like? So for example, if someone was to spend $5,000, I mean I don't know the costing, but let's just say they spent $5,000 on a campaign. If you don't deliver, you're prepared to guarantee that. Is that how that works?
Exactly. Let me give you an example. Let's say a dealer spends $25,000 with me. We just did a match back. That's another part of the technology that we have for you right now is match back technology.
Yep.
So what we do is we take the list and we say, okay, here's the people we targeted. Let's see your sales data. We're able to download that from CDK, right? We know
Yep.
who we sold cars to. If there's a match during the time frame of the sale or couple weeks thereafter, we're making the assumption that the offer had something to do with the purchase. Now, not 100% right, I'll say that. But let me give you an example. Dealer mailed 19,000 letters, California dealer. Our matchback indicated that he had over 127 sales, yield him 320 something thousand dollars in gross profit only on sales, just on new and used car sales. Doesn't include the service campaign that was also riding along with the mailer to where people could bring in the service offer and generate service ROs as a result. We didn't check against service ROs because we didn't download that data. And also there was a buyback offer in the campaign. So we don't know how many cars he actually bought off the street from his customers. So there's a perfect example, 1,200% ROI return on investment there, 1,200%. That's why we're able to say we'll guarantee 100% ROI.
So what about a dealer who says, listen, I want to do a sales campaign, I want to do a lease campaign, I want to do a service campaign, maybe I want to combine them. Like, how would you advise that dealer?
Well, there's the neat thing about this medium is you can do anything. You can do a service campaign, you can do a sales campaign, you can do a sales and service campaign, you can do a sales lease and service campaign, you can do a lease campaign, you can do a bad credit campaign, you can use cars only campaign, you can do anything. That's the beauty of it. You could, and that's what Tacito is really good at. When I say we did 54,000 campaigns, what that really means to the dealer is we've got over 54,000 versions of what to say to a customer in our database.
So what about the dealer who says, hey, I want to do this like to start the year or maybe during February, which we know is kind of a soft month in retail. Like, how quickly could they get set up with that? Like, what's involved on their end? Do they have to do a lot of heavy lifting? Like, they said, hey, I want to take advantage of this. I know February is a slow month for us. what would they have to do?
The heavy lifting is allowing us to access, or goes to our Fortillus, if he's a Fortillus CDK dealer. He
Okay.
goes to our site and opens the spigot, and the data flows. That's one heavy lift, which isn't a heavy lift, it's flicking a switch. Okay. The second heavy lift is determining, once we have the data, is working with and saying, hey, look, allowing us to make the decision as to who we think are the best customers to target, have the highest proclivity to buy or to do whatever it is he wants to have done. So we will either make that decision for him or work with us for that. And lastly, work with us as to determine what he wants to say. What is his problem? What is the solution he's seeking that he wants to solve? And that's what he needs to tell us, what he really wants to accomplish with this campaign, so that we can design the direct response marketing solution that will do that for him. And then he needs us to give us a really good reason why they should come to that dealership, and a really good reason why they should buy during this campaign. And those are offers. And usually what we do is let's say, okay, here's the offers that the factory's offering right now. You want to offer those, or do you want to beef them up a little bit? What sets your dealership different from the Toyota dealer down the street? What is different? What is unique? What is going to make this customer get off the couch, pick up the phone, go online, scan the scan, and interact with you now? What is going to do it? And help us with that. Once he helps us with that unique selling proposition, what's going to make this different, then we're going. So traditionally, 48 hours from the time you say go, we're in the mail.
So what about that dealer who says, "Hey, I want to do a monthly mailing. I want to do an annual seasonal mailing. I really want to think outside the box versus be reactionary. Like I don't want to react to my slow months. I want to do these offers over, say, each quarter. I want to do an offer like this, and then each month I want to do that. Can you organize that for them?"
Absolutely. We put a calendar together. We put a budget together. We determine the database that he wants to target for each one of those campaigns. And whether it's weekly, I've had dealers that mail 10,000 letters every week, every month, 52 weeks a year, because they recognize the value and they have a consistent flow of traffic. Their salespeople are in tune to what the letter says, what the offer is, and they know how to speak to the customer intelligently when that customer picks up the phone and calls about the letter, or when that customer comes in the service drive with the letter, or when that customer walks on the showroom floor with the letter. Those salespeople are prepared and they know. And what we're doing is tracking that traffic, and then we're doing the match back to justify the ROI. And we have a schedule, and we have different offers. Like next month, we're going to see President's Day offers.
Yeah.
Where, I don't know. These are just
Valentine's Day.
yeah, themes, whatever you want. But in March we do March Mania, and April we do Truck Month or whatever it is, or whatever he wants to do, we can do different. I mean, there's buyback sales. There's, like I said, people with challenge credit programs. If he wants to get that subprime market, if he wants a used car push, all those different kinds of variables are there. He might say, look, we see guys plan ahead, 6 months in advance.
Yeah.
12 months in advance. I want to do something for 4th of July. I want to do something for Labor Day. I want to do something for Memorial Day. And they roll. They rock and roll. And it's already set up. It's absolutely seamless for the dealer. All he's got to do is approve the copy. We'll send it to compliance. We'll send it for co-op. We'll provide him with a postage receipt, the show postal expense, turnkey.
And what about if that dealer has, let's say, a motorcycle dealership or an RV dealership or power sports? You do that as well, or just automotive?
Yeah. In the early days of the business, we did really a lot of RV business. We don't do as much now, but still doesn't matter. As we can still target them with the same kind of offer, same kind of message. People still respond.
And what about like something like a car rental agency like Hertz who wants to blow out some cars? I mean, do you work with companies like that? Or?
We haven't worked with Hertz specifically, but we used to do budget sales a long time ago. Did budget sales? Yeah, those are all possibilities. Those are all possibilities. And there's a real tendency right now for dealers to initiate a conversation with their customers based upon the first step in the buying process, and that is, well, what am I going to get for my car?
Yeah.
What's my car worth?
Yeah.
We capitalize on that particular question a lot, because once somebody says, what's my car worth? You gotta believe that that customer is in the market, is thinking about it, right? He wants to do something. Get rid of this car. He wants to trade it. He wants to do something. He's in the market. And that's really a really effective way to enter into the sales funnel with us.
Appreciate that. So there will be details below on how to get in touch with AJ. Obviously, you can also reach out to the Auto Hub Show if you have questions. Where can people find you? Like, is there a website, email, phone number?
Yeah, it's www.tacitodirect.com. Phone number is 800-621-2225.
And last but not least, I mean, do you do events or do you do marketing in other countries? Like, would you do marketing in Canada or in Europe or Mexico, or is it more the U.S. is your market?
More the U.S. We can do mail in Canada.
Okay. So thanks very much for taking the time today. I really appreciate it. Did you have any final thoughts for 2025?
Yeah, I want to say one other thing, and I think it just goes without saying the value there is in the customer database. The value there is in the customer database, and here's what I want to leave with customers, dealers. If you've got a database and it's got 20,000 people that have been through your dealership, not your CRM, your DMS. There's a big difference in CRM data and DMS data. Your DMS, these are people that have actually spent money in your dealership. They bought a new car, they bought a used car, they serviced with you. Even if you didn't sell them the car, we identify people that have serviced who were not sold at your dealership.
Right.
But let's say you got 20,000 in your database, Mr. Dealer. And how many cars do you sell a year, Mr. Dealer? Oh, we sell 2,000 cars a year. 2,000 cars a year, 20,000 in his database. That dealer has 10-year supply of customers.
Yep.
You don't need to be on TV. You don't need to be doing anything else. You got 10-year supply of customers. You sell 2,000 a month, a year, you've got 10-year supply. It's right there. The gold is right there. You just got to work it. You just got to work it. And one way is to reach out to them, show the love, show you appreciate them, because you know what? If you don't, somebody else is.
Well, yeah, and also a lot of dealers, and I've had a number of shows on this with data around email specifically. I know we were talking about a little earlier. If they're not emailing that person on a regular basis, those people are perishable. But more importantly, with privacy laws, the way they're trending, they may not even be able to communicate with those people at all if they don't get them opted back in. So if you're not touching that customer often, you may not be able to reach them. But more importantly, they're perishable, so they may leave and go somewhere else. And you're not even aware of it, right? And why wouldn't you, mine the gold right in your own records versus spend $50,000 a month on advertising and hope that works out, right?
Right. And email, I have a lot of respect for email because we do email campaigns, but our email campaigns are a little different. And they're different. There's no such thing as, I don't think e-blasts are worth the time of day. Because go to your spam, in your computer right now, go look at it. It's full of spam. Who decides that went into spam? Google decides. And if you don't have an ongoing relationship with the sender, Google says, you don't know this guy, it's going to spam most of the time.
Yeah.
Now, our email, you have a relationship with them. And we ensure that the email that we send out in conjunction with the mail, the dealer chooses to do so, emphasizes the fact that you have a relationship with that customer.
And what about texting? Do you do text campaigns? Because we all know
Nope.
the young people like these devices.
Don't check, don't touch it. Don't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
Well, thanks for taking the time today. All the best for 2025. I'm sure I'll see you at NADA in New Orleans if you're going to be in New Orleans.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. Yeah, great show. Thank you again for all you do.
No worries.
Really appreciate the opportunity to visit with you today.
Yep.
And hopefully we've got some dealers that can call us and talk to us. And, if nothing else, we just learned something today, right?
Fantastic. And obviously the details will be below, but if you have questions about AJ, reach out to him directly. He is on LinkedIn, just so you know. Or you can look up content on the autohubshow.com or on our YouTube or other channels. Thanks for listening. Happy Friday. This will probably be out a little later than today, but we'll get it out there. And
thank you.
Have yourself a great weekend.
You too. Stay warm.
Oh, always.